What's happening, Reject Nation? So apparently there was some Spider-Man 3 leaked set photos. Been waiting forever for some actual set photos to come out. This came out yesterday. We weren't around to cover it. So we're gonna check out 3C Films' video today. He's a huge Spider-Man fan. I've seen so many of his Spider-Man videos. We've been talking back and forth on Twitter, especially since covering his video last week. So I was like, you know what? Let's see what he's got in store as he breaks down these set photos for us.
Love you, Chris.
All right, big champion game. Parker! Hello, Spider-Man fans!
What the hell? What a weird ass. I love it. I love it.
A+ sketch.
So random.
Of Spider-Man 3 currently being filmed in Atlanta. What I'm going to be doing here for you guys is breaking down these set photos concerning Spider-Man 3. Also taking note of the one major change to the new suit in Spider-Man 3.
New suit, you say?
A small detail I think makes the biggest difference as a Spider-Man fan. And even some thoughts and theories on what exactly is going on here. So I'm gonna need you webheads out there to give me your opinions on these Spider-Man 3 set photos. What do you think exactly is going on here? What do you think the location means in Spider-Man 3? How do you feel about the setting? And also don't be forgetting to hit that like button, especially if you're enjoying the Spider-Man content.
There's more than I realized.
So these photos are being provided by Just Jared. They're the ones who have and own these photos, so you can check them out on their website. But we got our first sneak peek of Spider-Man 3 of him in costume here now when I go ahead and show you these, it really doesn't seem like it's all that different, like anything has changed. It just seems like the good old Spider-Man suit that just looks 100% amazing in my opinion, and I still get so baffled that Disney and Sony decide to look at that suit, how it looks in daylight. This is a leaked set photo from an unprofessional artist, and look how amazing
that's
that
true.
looks.
It looks great still.
Yeah, we're gonna cover that thing in some CGI for you. But either way, as an eagle-eye Spider-Man fan, you should have noticed one major change to this suit that is different from the way it looked in Spider-Man Far From Home, that I'm like, finally, for the ultimate Spider-Man movie, they are getting it right. The one major change that they've made to this suit is they went ahead and removed some of the black strips on the belt of this Spider-Man suit.
Nope, did not notice.
Yeah, I didn't guess. I was like, shoulder pads.
I was like, what's different about this?
In the last recent years, but for some reason, they're not allowed to have this belt in the shape of underwear surrounding them in modern day. I mean, Superman's already gotten rid of that, Batman's gotten rid of that to an extent, and they were trying to mask that underwear look in all the Spider-Man suits, and the Spider-Man OCD in me was always flaring up. Let me take you back to the days when they introduced good old Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. This is before your boy had a YouTube channel and a great community of you Spider-Man fans following me around and making cringy intros. No, I was sitting at high school at the computer lab just staring at this thing, and all I could think about is, why the hell are they not connecting the lines? The lines need to touch. You don't know how much higher on the list this suit would be as my top favorite suits if those lines at the bottom just happened to meet, and also if they got rid of those yellow weird eyes that they gave him. Just make those silver or white, please. Now, it finally being shown off and proud, this belt, I think it makes the suit just look a lot more cleaner, a little more simple in a good way. The other thing to notice here is the emblem is also highlighted white.
That's what I noticed. It was the emblem.
Yeah. The biggest major changes right now. But like I said, to me, they make a world of difference. If you didn't even notice them when I pulled up this photo and we're going, what are you talking about, new suit? Well, then I guess you're fine with that belt being hidden, you monster. But if you are wanting a brand new looking suit, it looks like we're gonna get one, because we have here an Instagram user who prefers to remain anonymous, but this person was the one who was letting us know, hey guys, you're about to get some Spider-Man 3 set photos pretty soon, so be on the lookout. And he's also been following the production super closely. And this person being around the set of Spider-Man 3 a lot, he has went ahead and said this, replying to somebody else. I wouldn't call that new, referring to the suit. Just a small update. I'm sure the new one is going to be very different. And then he goes ahead and responds with saying it is new, and there is another one.
You can't do an MCU Spider-Man without another one.
Modified look Spider-Man Far From Home suit was just going to be something that the movie would ignore, and it's like, oh, we just got rid of those details a little bit. We're not really going to talk about how or why he changed this. But right here with him saying it, no, this is a new suit. Does that mean we're going to get a moment where the previous suit needs to be gotten rid of, whether to some battle damage or Spider-Man just is always updating this thing like it's an iOS? And of course, it's not a Marvel MCU movie unless they give us a brand new suit halfway into the movie or towards the end.
Hold on a sec. We gotta talk a little bit about this before we move forward. This updated look, all right. I didn't notice. I can't bullshit you guys. Obviously, I did it. The thing I was like, is the shoulder pads, the emblem definitely looked a lot more defined. That was something I was like, when I was doing this, I was referring to that. And I suppose for like the hardcore Spider fans, just such as yourself, Chris, that the belt thing would be something that would stand out to you, be very important. And it's true, like the whole underwear look is something that we have really steered clear from.
Yeah, it really made a point.
That's something I haven't thought about, but yeah, we definitely try to avoid that because I think there's something that's inherently been considered kind of goofy about that.
Almost, yeah.
And I am kind of curious though, if they would acknowledge it. I can see there being a scenario where they don't acknowledge it, where they just like let the movie play out. It's just a little bit of an updated look. It's common in superhero movie cinema that they'll do that. They don't always have to talk about it, but I think with as much emphasis as there has been on, I think it was actually around the Dark Knight time when they really made emphasis on suit changes, no matter what it was. As simple as I want to be able to turn my head from the Dark Knight. And especially with Spider-Man, you know, like I think with Iron Man and Spider-Man, there tends to be acknowledgement of whenever they're updating the suits. And especially with Spider-Man, as you can see from Far From Home, that if you're gonna do any little modification, even that little strip with the belt, I think you can, especially with how attention to detail we are with canon with MCU, that you gotta kind of acknowledge it a little bit, even if it's a little something, but when would you have time to do it in the middle of being a fugitive on the run?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm sure
if that is the plot. If that is the plot, yeah.
Some kind of clandestine way to access maybe the suit making machine again or whatever. But that is a funny point because, yeah, I mean, I never would have even picked it up. Like, it's one of those things that, like,
it's so subtle.
It's so subtle, and yet now that I am looking at it, I'm gonna look at it in every Spider-Man costume.
Now I'm not gonna not notice it.
Now I'm not gonna not notice that. Yeah, and it's the kind of thing where I feel like, yeah, you could very easily go, it's a small detail. We're going back a little bit more traditional, but we don't need to make a deal out of it. At the same time, though, I mean, the MCU has gotten to where it is and has at least a better continuity than a lot of other franchises do. And so
Except
feel
for
like
Spider-Man Homecoming with its 8 years or whatever, it's that 8 or 5. I forget which one they got wrong.
Whichever. Isn't it? I think it's like actually 8 or something like that. But yeah, I mean, and especially with that existing meme, I would almost feel like the onus would be on them just to either acknowledge it or to create a scenario where it's clear that it's long enough after that, okay, maybe he got a new suit. Headcanon.
And that is a great photo without having any CGI altercations at all. It's just
clear.
Because a lot of times the suits don't look as great unless you finally do your post-digital photography touch-ups and stuff and your coloring effects and all that. But that looks great.
Looks like he decided to pose for this picture.
That's just Jared over there.
Hey. Image or Spider-Man just is always updating this thing like it's an iOS. And of course, it's not a Marvel MCU movie unless they give us a brand new suit halfway into the movie or towards the end. And I'm kind of disappointed by that, man, because I super love the red and black suit. I know some people like the traditional red and blue, which I completely respect too, but there's something about this red and black suit that really pops for me, especially if we're getting all 3 Spider-Man coming together. Tom Holland's really going to be able to stand out in that crowd, which also makes me wonder what kind of suit they're going to give Andrew Garfield, whether they're going to give him his Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit or maybe a better updated version of that Amazing Spider-Man suit that he first got, which I wouldn't mind. Like I said, just make that belt touch and have those eyes turn white. Take your guesses now for what exactly you want the new suit to look like. I don't know if it's going to be something
characters talk about
as
that.
the Iron Spider suit. I think, again, it's just going to be something simple and sleek down. For all we know, this hint of another suit could just be sort of like a night monkey situation where because everybody is after Spider-Man in town, he can't really risk going out in his regular suit because everyone will recognize that. So he has to put on an undercover suit or some kind of homemade suit again because he's not able to get to his lab, or I should say Stark Industries lab. But as far as what's actually going down in these photos, we really have no idea. Yeah, I do like how a lot of fans are pointing out these two photos of Spider-Man
very similar.
arms in a certain way. It's really resembling Tobey Maguire when he's dancing in Spider-Man 3. I highly doubt that's actually what he's doing here. But hey, if this version of Peter Parker decides to bust out that dance, I ain't gonna say a thing about it. Two really interesting things to note.
I would really I just want to say I would love it if they pay homage to that.
I want Bully Maguire.
I think they should pay homage to that.
Please do.
Absolutely.
Please.
And if we're talking, too, about Andrew Garfield coming back for this Spider-Man movie, I want him to have the Amazing Spider-Man suit. You know, it has to be that. It can't be some... I think it'd be cool if you kept it with the suits that we remember. The same thing with Tobey Maguire. Even if they are aged or it takes place in the future for those characters in their timeline. I just think for nostalgia factor... It'd be cool to just have them come back.
Yeah. Battle worn.
That's actually what he's doing here. But hey, if this version of Peter Parker decides to bust out that dance, I ain't gonna say a thing about it. Two really interesting things to note, though, about this location and where they're filming. One, the main setting for this shoot right here is
Christmas
a bakery
time,
donut shop by the name of Peter Pan. Now, I went ahead and made a little joke once I saw these photos, and I was like, what if this Peter Pan bakery shop is actually the key to the multiverse in Spider-Man 3.
No.
The way I came to that conclusion is, you know, Peter Pan,
Neverland.
Peter Parker,
Neverland,
Peter Pan goes to Neverland, so Peter Parker entering Neverland, which is this donut shop. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I mean, this is also
not really.
Ridiculous is a relative term now.
Where Nick Fury lost his eye to an alien cat. So anything can happen, really. One thing also that...
Hey, it's Tom Holland's brother.
Hey, look at that. Family day. Bring your folks to work day.
I only want to pause brief, but he's got wires attached. I'm sure he'll talk about it. He's got wires attached to him. He's in the movie?
I guess.
We're going to talk. I mean, we don't let the video play out, but I got to say, Chris, I think your theory about that is actually that's not far-fetched. You're saying it sounds ridiculous, but I think in terms of what Neverland is or presents itself, calling it Peter Pan, Peter Parker, the PPs are similar. I just
Similar PPs.
Similar PPs. Yep, that's the kind of humor you're going to get here at the Real Rejects.
3P.
I think that the idea of it in terms of like references actually isn't far off, or I don't think it's that silly. Yeah, I think it actually works, man.
Oh yeah, it works in the magic of their universe.
The second you started saying something, I'm like, my mind started going there before you even said anything. So I was like, wait a minute, no, I think you're onto something. All right, guys. So actually, in the middle of slicing and dicing this video, super duper quick, discovered some other photos that I didn't know about where Zendaya is on set and she's actually in that Peter Pan shop. It could just be that in this scene, Peter Parker is going to go visit Michelle at the new place she's working at during the holidays. Like maybe she's working there to just get some money to buy some presents. You know how some high school students will do that during the holidays. I could see that just being the actual possibility. I like Chris's theory, but I think this is probably more likely. You got this other photo here of Tom Holland, and I can't tell if this is Tom Holland talking with someone on set or if he's kind of doing that Peter Parker thing in Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire where he's like rehearsing a poem or something to say to Michelle. Either way, and it's kind of cool to know that actually Zendaya's character Michelle is working in that shop. It's important to point out, had to make sure to include it here.
One thing also that is really puzzling fans and making them wonder like what is going on here is we have Tom Holland's brother, Harry Holland on set wearing wires. So it seems that even Tom Holland's brother has a role in Spider-Man 3. Man, we thought this movie was packed already. This is kind of awesome.
Just a cameo,
though. Tom
He's an
Holland on
alternate
any of his
Peter.
social medias, you know he loves his brother a lot and is always bringing him in for his videos. So it's kind of cool that he'll also be popping up in Spider-Man 3 as a small cameo. A lot of people, though, are theorizing to what exactly is going on. Some of the popular theories goes as maybe this is going to be a flashback scene and we'll finally see what's happening to that fateful night where Peter Parker lost Uncle Ben. Maybe they'll finally flesh out that story so we can connect and we can sympathize when we meet all these other Spider-Man.
I don't think that's true.
Now's the time for an origin.
I think Tom Holland already looks young enough where if you put a little bit of makeup on him
or
and change his
de-age
hairstyle
him.
They did it to the Stranger Things kids.
Spider-Man 3, but I can't get any confirmation on that. This might be from a different movie, guys. But everyone is going around and saying it's from the set of Spider-Man 3. If you do know it's from a different movie, please let me know down below. But I think in this photo, Tom Holland definitely looks younger just by a little bit of a hair change. But my best guess to what's actually going on here is that it's said that this scene being filmed for Spider-Man 3 is just stopping a regular thief in New York City who's taking maybe another purse.
Wait, hold on. We gotta talk a little bit about, remember this part, 8:15, all right? Hold on a second. I think this is, I don't think it would be a flashback of where he's playing. What Chris is saying is that the theory is that he'd be playing a young version of Tom Holland seeing the Uncle Ben origins.
Yes.
I don't think that's the case.
No.
I think by this point, with the amount of de-aging MCU has done themselves, they would just do that with Tom Holland.
Yeah, if they
He's
had
not
to.
that far off from the time when Uncle Ben, like especially the way he just naturally looks, how he has such a young look about him, they would just de-age him. And if they were to do it like this, I don't know. That would be like nepotism at its finest, would it not be?
I feel like it has the
Like
potential,
a little cameo or something was one thing, but to give him such like a main storyline point, like, oh, come on, guys.
I feel like that would ultimately distract from what the point of that scene would be. Like, if you're going back to the most heartbreaking core wound of Peter Parker's life, I don't think you want to distract fans with like, hey, it's his brother.
Yeah.
It becomes like a meme at that
I'm
point.
sure it's just some like fun little cameo moment. I don't think it's actually something that's that like, oh, a big deal.
My money's on an alternate Peter for laughs.
Or it could be, yeah, it could be another alternate Peter in the many dimension hopping, and he just kind of looks like Tom Holland. You know, like I think it would work. Or maybe he has a brother in another universe, you know, something like that. Or, you know, yeah, I don't think it has to be some. Yeah, I don't know. I just think that's a little too far fetched.
Or a biker, since it's in front of this bakery shop, maybe stealing someone's donut, and that could just be the little cameo role that his brother plays, as a thief who gets wired up by Spider-Man, as we see here with Tom Holland wearing his mask and then someone in wires floating up in the air. That could be Harry's stunt double, and that might be what's going on here. But a lot of people are also saying, what if he's actually playing Harry Osborn? Harry Holland? Harry Osborn?
No.
Anything's possible. But still, as our first couple of set photos for Spider-Man 3, I think it's really amazing. We just got to keep our eyes out now if they reveal anything else. If they're going to show some Jamie Foxx Electro out there, a Alfred Molina Dr. Octopus, or if the actual Spider people start showing up, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, which I highly doubt it. There's no way they would risk filming all that stuff in public for it to get leaked and talked about by doofuses like me. Be sure you guys leave me your thoughts and theories down below on these photos. Do you like them? Do you like the little tweak to the suit? Or are you still not up for the red and black? I know people want red and blue back. Anything and everything, go ahead and leave your thoughts down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at 3C Film Review. As always, I'm Chris. Take care.
Awesome.
Thanks, Chris.
I mean, I think to answer your question really quick, Chris, I think that it would be cool to get to a point where we do get the blue back. For this installment, it's not a big deal to me. I think that keeping it black would actually help with distinguishing him from the other Spider-Men, presuming, I mean, it seems like it's a 99.9% chance that they will be showing up in here. But if they are indeed showing up in this movie, I think it helps with distinguishing, so I'm on board with you there. However, I do think as time goes on and the more Tom Holland is in the Spider-Man movies, getting the red and blue, the traditional Spider-Man look would be pretty cool to just get to that point. Anywho, guys, do these set photos excite you? What'd you guys think? Do you notice the? I didn't notice the belt. I feel like I should have at this point. Yeah,
true fan of Spider-Man.
Didn't notice that. Leave your thoughts down below. Subscribe to 3C Films if you haven't done so already. This guy's been killing it on YouTube as of late. I've talked back and forth with him a lot in Twitter messages as of late, and he already comes across nice here, but he's even nicer from getting to talk to him. Much love to everyone. Subscribe, click that notification bell, hit the like button, and last but not least, Patron. I want to shout out my man named Gene Jeter. Gene Jeter sent us both over a copy of his book, The Craigslist Model. And I actually read the whole thing cover to cover yesterday. It was a wonderful book. It's structured interestingly, and it plays out like a conversation over instant messenger. So there's a bit of a play structure to it, and it's all revolving around the death of a model that someone photographed, and there's this whole history there, and it's an interesting back and forth dialogue. He didn't ask me to promote promote this or plug it. He's been supporting our channel for such a long time. He's been part of our Patreon page for such a long time that when he sent over this book, I was like, you know what? I should make the time to read it. I read it in one sitting. It was a quick read, an easy read. And so guys, you can get this. It's available on Amazon. Put links in the description box for it. It's called The Craigslist Model. Really easy and actually really interesting read throughout. So thank you so much for sending this over. Did you read it yet?
I haven't, but I'm gonna read it all tonight.
Looks like someone cares more about Gene.
You know,
than...
Gene, I love you, and I just closed the
That's-
year
you're
off
done.
with your
You're-
2020
you're done.
calendar,
You're
so
done.
make
You're
a
done.
2021
You're
one,
done.
man.
You're done.